What's up guys, Farhan here. Welcome back to another ultimate review. This is the review of the Zontes GK350. Huge thanks to Chongqing Agency for borrowing me this bike for the review. Right guys, so once again we are back in the city of Madini, probably the best place to do automobile bike review, and here I have with me is the Zontes GK350. As you can see, the outlook itself, it's very nice, very similar to the 155G. I have to say that overall this bike looks really futuristic, kind of like a cyberpunk kind of thing going on over here. Especially with the front disc brake cover and the orange accents on it. Okay, so let's sit on the bike. It's a hot day today, by the way. Weather is so unforgiving. Okay, sitting down on the bike right now at a weight of 169 kg. It's pretty light. Similar legs in its class. Feels really solid, feels really premium. Starting up, it uses a transponder, and interestingly, the transponder, it can be worn like a Fitbit. Which is like wow. So it can be a wearable, it can be an accessory if you want to. Okay, and press the red button and you can hear the beeping sounds and the gauge cluster comes to life. So 7-inch TFT gauge cluster, very much similar to most of the other Zontes models. In fact, most of the parts here, if you have ridden a Zontes bike before, it's all from the Zontes parts bin. 17-litre fuel tank with a projected range of 3.2 kilometers per litre. If you ask me, kind of fuel saving for a class 2A. Okay, so when you want to start the bike, we cannot start it like this. So you need to clutch in like a scooter. And I just love the sound on this. It has this nice deep growl that usually this classic kind of bikes is associated with. Let's start riding. Okay, so right off the bat, as I'm riding on it, the stipple clutch that this bike is fitted with really makes the gear changing experience really easy. It's very light. Whenever you're riding it, negotiating the corners, turning into the bends, it's very easy. And as with Zontes, the pickup is very good and the low to mid range is also very good. Brakes on the dime, comes with dual channel ABS. There's this fun factor that Zontes bikes usually have, in which you know, right off the line, you want to whack this bike, kind of twitchy, at least for a class 2A. So there's this fun factor that this bike comes with, which most bikes usually nowadays lack. Feels like you're riding a scrambler as opposed to a street bike. It has this off-road kind of feel. Suspension is quite firm, but it absorbs most of the road imperfections and minor little bumps and all that. Once again, is the pickup. The pickup that it has is really damn good. Currently we're in sports mode. The pickup is slightly twitchy, and if you were to change it to eco mode, which is the fuel saving mode, right, you can get a bit sluggish, just a bit sluggish, but I think it helps to conserve fuel. And on the website, above 7,000 RPM, automatically the sports mode will be kicked in. Takes in the corners, the bends very easily. No issue with adapting or handling this bike at all. So if you ask me, city riding, no issue and all that. Very easy to handle, very easy to tame. But it does get kind of twitchy, so you need to be mindful on how fast you're going, because that fun factor is there, so you'll tend to speed. On clear city streets like this, I think it will be no issue if you want to play a bit, but when the road gets busy, you cannot be too throttle happy. But I feel that this bike, as a street bike or cafe racer or retro inspired or scrambler, you're supposed to handle it easily in the city. But if you ask me, I prefer if this bike does not face stop traffic, because you know, you're riding show, and then suddenly there's a traffic light in front of you, like 300 meters later, traffic light, 300 meters, traffic light. So it's like boring. With this fun factor that this bike offers, I feel that long stretches of road or highway is much more suited for this sort of bike. Okay, so back to sport mode. And I can feel the pickup of this bike getting slightly better. See what I mean? Like 200 meter traffic light. So it gets kind of irritating lah. Like you're riding such a twitchy bike, but yet you are faced with stop traffic and traffic lights. Build quality is pretty solid. I must applaud Zontes for this. They don't fail to disappoint on the build quality. You can see like forged aluminium for the side stand, the brake and clutch levers.
Marketed as a modern retro sports cafe racer, the Zontes GK350 is a standard class of motorcycle inspired by the current trends of motorcycle design. The GK350's modern appearance, combined with the technology on the bike, showcases the best of Zontes' production. The engine is a 348cc liquid-cooled single-cylinder DOHC with Bosch electronic fuel injection and a 6-speed constant mesh manual transmission. Before we get started with the static review, just a bit of background about this bike. This particular Zontes GK350, it actually belongs to the owner, but the representative at Chokong Agency, they've kindly asked the owner if it was okay, if I borrow this bike for a review, and they were perfectly fine with it, and they've made the arrangements for me lah. So that includes the necessary insurance that I'm covered to basically ride this bike for this ultimate review. Huge thanks to the owner, huge thanks to Chokong Agency for that. So because this is somebody's bike, definitely the owner has made certain modifications and changes to his bike lah. So definitely certain things are not stock, and he has fitted this hand guards over here, and at the same time the tank is painted in this silver color lah. But other than that, what you see here, the butt-end mirrors, the sliders, is all from Zontes themselves. So as usual, we're gonna start off with the riding posture. Okay, so sitting on this bike right now, as you can see, it has a slightly aggressive riding posture. I'm leaning forward quite a bit. My legs are folded in quite a bit squeezy, especially around the thigh and the knee area. My bum does get sore after riding it for a while. I think the seat is kind of hard if you ask me. Other than that, I think it's okay, still bearable. Long distance wise, I will reckon I'll do pretty well on it lah. So at the ride height of 75.5 cm, I'm 165. As you can see, I'm tiptoeing slightly, and the bike's weight of 169 kg. I think for vertically challenged riders, it's still manageable, no issues. Alright, so up next we come to the general design of the GK350, and Zontes marketed this as a modern retro bike and a sports cafe racer, really emphasizing that this bike is a modern creation in its name. It has a neo appearance, but definitely maintaining a classic silhouette. It's definitely got a modern and muscular outlook, from its huge radiator guards to the chisel chip fuel tank with the blackout plastic cladding at the top over here, and the lack of a keyhole on the fuel cap gives it a uniform appearance. Nice scooped seat over here to accommodate vertically challenged riders, so there are no lines or indentations on it. It's really a one-piece seat, giving it a bench seat kind of appearance to match the retroness of this bike. And I also love the branding tag on the headlight area. Zontes has done this with other bikes as well, with the G155 at least. Circular bar-end mirrors adds to the retro aesthetics. Stainless steel spoke rims, which are lightweight and impact resilient, and gives it a kind of a retro scrambler kind of look to it. Dual side mounted exhaust made out of stainless steel with an outer barrel design, and is cool to the touch. Well, after riding it for quite some time, in my personal opinion, its overall outlook really looks like the CB series of bikes, especially the CB 300R. The rear, however, looks like a SWAT villain. I think that this is a really attractive design, and definitely heads are gonna be turning when you're at the stoplight lah. So up next we come to the handlebar controls and gauge cluster. So for the handlebar, it's a long and flat handlebar, comes with bar end mirrors and also hand guards lah. Not the plastic over here, but rather the side hand guards over here. So in the event that if you drop your bike, it will protect your hands as well as the handlebar itself. Okay, so I really like the handlebar, very comfortable if you ask me. As riding controls, as you can see, if you've ridden a Zontes, this is typically the standard Zontes format lah. Lots of features you can toggle with, very nice to the touch, feels premium as well. And additionally, the buttons, they're also backlit when the light is turned on. Okay, so let me explain that further in a bit. So to the left over here, we got the high beam, low beam, hazard, signal, horn, the set and mode button to control the gauge cluster. And to the right over here, we got the engine kill switch, eco button, which is to control between the riding modes, eco and sports, starter, and the light switch.
Turning on the light switch over here, and yeah, there's no difference in the lighting unlike the 350D. Okay, so regardless whether you turn on the light switch or not, it's only gonna turn on the backlight for the switches. Okay, so turning on the high beam now. Okay, not too bad.
For the fuel button is to open and close the fuel cap, which is an electronic lock, and the seat button, also an electronic button to open up the seat. So to start the bike, just press the red button with the lock. Okay, and yep, you simply lock the bike and walk away lah. And to handlebar your lock, just turn the handlebar to the right like this, and the handlebar locks automatically. And to unlock the bike, okay, make sure your Fitbit or your transponder is near to the bike. You just press the red button again, and the gauge cluster will come turning on. So it's a 7-inch TFT display. So to toggle it, you toggle using the set and mode button. Toggle the interface, which I will come to in a bit. Clock, backlight, unit to adjust between kilometers and miles per hour. Language, Bluetooth to connect your phone with the bike through the Easy Connect app, and tire pressure monitoring system lah. There's 4 interface that you can adjust. So currently it's simple, you can adjust it between the street, casual, and race. If you ask me, it's basically the same kind of interface that you'll see on the 310M, and I think some of the other bikes as well. Standard kind of features and format with the Zontes bikes. Kind of gimmicky, but hey, at least you know your bike stands out from the rest. So for the 7-inch TFT gauge cluster itself, depending on interfaces you set, certain information is going to be displayed prominently than in the other interfaces lah. So for this interface, we're currently in simple. Right above here we got the clock, the voltmeter, gear indicator, tachometer on the outer ring. Okay, in the inner ring, you got the fuel indicator, the temperature gauge. The mode is currently in right now, which is currently in sports mode. Speedometer, we got the trip meter and the odometer. If you toggle between the mode, you can display a whole range of other features lah. Like currently, it's in the TPMS, average fuel consumption per kilometer, range. Wow, a lot of things to talk about actually. Yeah. So as with Zontes, you can never expect all of the riding tech and features that usually come with a Zontes bike lah. So usually these features, even mainstream manufacturers, they don't even care to put lah. Some of the features you may find it repeated on other Zontes bikes, but if you ask me, it's okay. Okay, so just to list some of the features that they have, keyless transponder. Okay, so for the keyless transponder, it's actually in a bracelet form. It looks like a Fitbit, looks pretty futuristic, convenient, and definitely you won't lose your keys as it's on your wrist. You know, I never thought to put a motorcycle transponder on my wrist. I wish more manufacturers have the option, you know, for the riders to do this. Full LED lighting all around, 2 riding modes, Eco and Sports. In Eco mode at 7,000 RPM. Sports mode is automatically kicked in. So this is to accommodate overtaking and emergency situations. Dual channel ABS paired with disc brakes and calipers by J-Juan. Front disc brake features a roto brake guard. First time I'm seeing a person, and especially on a Zontes bike, certainly has a unique look to it. As for the shocks, we got an inverted forks at the front and a monoshock in the rear. So which is in a standard configuration of typically for most of road bikes. Electronic steering lock, slipper clutch, full color 7-inch TFT gauge cluster, hazard lights, 2 USB-A 18-watt charging ports with fast charging, and TPMS, tire pressure monitoring system. So horn check for the Zontes GK350. It's not that loud, I would say, but at least it's a decently nice horn. So let's talk about the colours that come with the GK350. And this particular bike, as I've told you before, the owner made modifications to his tank lah. So there's the GK words here lah. This colour is actually the white and orange. As you can see, the spoke rims, there's still the orange accents, and supposedly there's a GK lettering in orange at the side here, which I really like, to be frank. The other colours are black and blue and black and gold. For the price, Chokong Agency has informed me that machine price is 10,500. Comes with a 3-year, 100k engine warranty, whichever comes first, and 2-year warranty for electrical.
I have to say that the suspension wise, it doesn't do too well on very rough roads. For example, this patch of rough road over here, but minor bumps, little bumps, it's okay. The suspension is kind of firm. So let's try to beat this car off the line when the light turns green. Whoo, there you go. Very quick off the line. The acceleration is there when you need it. You just need to whack this bike a bit. Once again, I feel really confident with it, going as low as I can with the bike, and you can just feel the grip, the tires hugging the road, and the grip that this bike has, you know. Okay, coming to a roundabout right in front. Let's lean into the corner. Wow, fun factor is definitely here. I mean, if you were to bring it to the track or something with this bike, I reckon you're gonna have a hell lot of fun with it. Slipper clutch. So I didn't realize I was in 5th gear just now. You know, when you're going slow, usually you'll kick down, right? But this one, I've maintained it at a high gear, and it feels as if I'm in gear 3. Alright, let's whack her a bit. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo. Even at high speeds like this, 113, is very stable and negotiates this bend very well. I can feel the grip on the tires. Handling wise, performance wise, it's a good all-rounder. Okay, we got a bunch of regulators right in front of us. Okay, not that bad. The suspension really absorbs it. It's not too irritating. And of course at high speeds, because there's no windshield, right, you can feel the full force of the wind in your face, your body right now. Riding posture, I feel it's a bit too aggressive. For me, I'm used to this adventure riding posture. But if you're used to riding a sports bike, those Royal Enfield Continental, this riding posture is feels very similar to you. Very sporty, kind of aggressive. Alright, let's whack this bike a bit. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo. Kind of 132 right now. Oh, I think that's the fastest I dare to go with it. I don't dare to go any faster. But of course this bike, I feel as if you can still go faster. It's shaking slightly, but still stable. I feel that the GK350 belongs on the highway as opposed to city streets. Like I said, long stretches of road, highway riding, that's where the fun comes in. That low to mid-range torque is there at the squeeze of the throttle, you know. Performance of it, wow, I think I've overlooked the performance. I think if you're going through a bunch of twisty roads, with its great handling and awesome performance, you're definitely going to enjoy the ride down the backcountry road. People overlook Zontes just because of its Chinese origins, but if you would just go have a go, have a chance, if they can test ride, maybe they would think otherwise. It's really a hidden gem, if you ask me.
Right guys, so had like 5 days with the bike, and my conclusion without looking at the brand, just the machine as it is a decent bike. Great performance, great acceleration. Fun factor is definitely there. The acceleration can get quite twitchy in sports mode. A whole lot of riding tech and features packed into this little machine right here at an affordable price, and probably the only cafe racer inspired scrambler offering other than the CB300R, which is a apparel import lah. So all the warranty and after sales support is there for you lah. The shortcomings, I feel that the seat is kind of hard. After riding for quite a while, your bum tends to ache. Also the handlebar, riding at high speeds, long periods of time, it does tend to vibrate quite a bit lah. Can be better if there's a dampener in the handlebar. Still bearable, it's not that bad lah, I would say. Overall, I would say the GK350 is for riders who like the modern interpretation of the scrambler and cafe racer kind of bike. Definitely it shares some of the aesthetics with the Honda CB150R and the CB300R. Once again, it's probably the only Class 2A offering for such a bike without needing a parallel import, and you're getting a proper warranty and after sales support lah. Once again, huge thanks to Chocolate Agency for loaning me this bike for this ultimate review. You guys can check out this bike and other bikes at their showroom in Kaki Bukit. Also to mention, Zontes also has set up a booth at CDC, so if you just pass your Class 2A or if you happen to be there, you can check out some of their bikes that's being displayed at the booth over there lah. So that's it for the vlog, and we will see you in the next one.